And just looking at Theo's book, his new book, it's just one of those books. It's just full of joy. Theo Randall, Verdura, cookbook. Theo's here. Big intro on the way. Vas, over to you.
From Tuscany to the top of the tower, our next guest is always the veal deal. Although today he's living life on the veg. His new book, Verdura, 10 vegetables, 100 Italian recipes, is out now. So, sorry about this, Theo. Please welcome a man whose food is way tastier than a Renault Clio handle. Hello, Theo Randall.
Oh, desperate.
Brilliant.
Times require desperate measures. Sorry about that. Theo, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Oh, amazing. Great to see you again. You look
so
very
nice.
well too.
Thank
Lots
you.
of walking.
Lots of walking.
Bit of tennis.
Bit of tennis.
All right.
Eat healthy lifestyle.
All right. So Verdura is a Spanish word, but it's on the front of an Italian cookbook. Who's going to tell him?
It's an Italian word. What are you talking
Oh, I
about?
thought it was a Spanish word.
No, Verdura.
Says in my notes,
vegetables.
it's a Spanish word.
I guess it could be.
Verdura is a Spanish word for green vegetables.
Well,
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, who
Let's
cares?
not fall out over that. Sorry. But it's a brilliant book. It's a brilliant book. Where do we begin? What's the philosophy behind the book, first of all?
well, the philosophy behind the book is it's 100 recipes,
Yes.
10 different vegetables,
Yes.
10 recipes per vegetable. Every recipe has been photographed because I'm convinced that cookbooks without photographs are never cooked. I mean, you look at a cookbook, there's probably about 70% of the recipes are photographed. And if you do all 100%, everyone will cook every single recipe.
And also now we're Instagram crazy, aren't we?
We are.
And that's why Instagram is so popular. It's about the image, isn't it? What does the image say? How does it inspire you? How does it allure you? How does it repel you sometimes? But it's about, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Exactly. And, this book was inspired by my daughter wanting to eat vegetables. She's 22 now, but at the age of 12, she said, "Daddy, I want to eat more vegetables." And so I started cooking more and more vegetables at home. This is very much a home cookbook.
Right.
And it just sort of took off from there. And I've just sort of found myself eating and cooking far more vegetables than I ever used to.
All right, you talked about one of your daughters there. Happy granddaddyship.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel, granddaddy?
Amazing. And Max and Catalina had a little boy called Boaz last year. He's 1 year old on Tuesday. So happy birthday,
Look
Boaz!
at your smile.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's lovely.
That is so cool.
Being a grandparent
Yeah.
is the best thing in the world.
Only new human beings can sort of produce that smile from someone. You're
Yeah.
smiling with all your face.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
That's
wonderful.
cool.
It's wonderful.
All right, so back to the book. Verdura, 10 vegetables, 100 Italian recipes. Now, I'm on hour 39 of a fast.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you brought some stuff in today. I put most of it that Vassos hasn't eaten, which is like actually most of it in the beginning, into this Tupperware tub, and I will be eating all this on the drive as I pull up at home at 1 o'clock this afternoon. What have you brought in first of all? Let's start off with that.
I have bought on page 117 mushroom, onion, and spinach torta.
Right, now there's a lot of mushroom chat in this book, isn't there?
There's a lot of mushroom. There's a whole chapter on mushrooms.
Come on.
I mean, the book is quite seasonal, sort of almost accidentally, because each vegetable is obviously seasonal. You've got asparagus at the moment, which is on the front cover.
Yes.
Which is the most wonderful seasonal ingredient. But, that finishes in a few weeks' time, the English asparagus.
Yes.
And then you move on
Which is
to
the
other
best in the
ingredients.
world.
It is the best in the world. And then you have tomatoes. So there's a whole 10 recipes on tomatoes. And then there's squashes.
I'm so hungry.
You've got to wait till 1 o'clock.
All right, take us through this again. Come on.
Okay, so that is a thin pastry, and there's some onions which have been cooked for quite a long time. So very sweet onions, a little bit of thyme in there. And then we've got a little mixture of portobello, a bit of porcini mushrooms, so just really flavoursome mushrooms. And then it's all sort of topped off with some egg yolk, which is beaten up with a bit of creme fraiche and some Parmesan cheese. Very simple, but the nice thing about the egg yolk and the creme fraiche, when it cooks, it sort of solidifies and sets on top of the tart. So it all sort of holds together nicely.
Oh, that pastry's supreme. I can't,
You're salivating, I can
can't-
see.
Of course I am. I'm not in for 39 hours. I'm literally not in anything. I've had black coffee and herbal tea. That's it. Nothing.
Why'd you do this to yourself?
Because it's great. Look at me. You said
You
today.
do look amazing,
I do.
yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
great. But I also now do feel hungry. The hunger switch has been flicked. It's more of a, what's the big thing's called?
Oh, a lever.
No. You're
So I'm involved in
so
the
funny,
talk.
aren't you? Yeah. So now, just tell us about the pastry, because people who can pastry, no longer fear it; they embrace it.
Absolutely.
People who fear they can't pastry, how do you get them over the line? Tell us about this, because it's firm, it's reassuring, it's a great, it's like it's like a natural sort of holder.
So with pastry, there's two schools. You're absolutely right. There's people that can make pastry and just like with their eyes closed, and there's people that fear it. So when I write the recipe of this book, I wanted to be very much sort of a fearless cookbook. So there are things like, on this recipe, it's actually using a puff pastry base, which you can use by the pre-cooked puff pastry. But if you wanted to make the pastry, there's lots of recipes in there with using that pastry, which is basically flour, a little bit of butter and egg. And it's very simple pastry, a little bit of salt. And it's just this classic sort of short crust pastry. But, it's... The book is designed to be cooking at home. It's things that make you feel confident. So the picture gives you the inspiration, and then you go on to cook the recipe.
Yeah. Can I just say this? Can I draw your attention, young man, to page 44, and your yellow zucchini, spring onion, fennel, and lentil soup. Gang, check that out. What is not to absolutely love? I want to eat the page, but I'm not even allowed to eat paper at the moment because it might have sugar in it. See, this is a robust soup.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
But that looks gentle, potentially vulnerable and fragile, yet it's robust at the same time. It's not too big,
Yeah.
That's what you do best. Tell us about this.
So that's just a very simple soup. You've got so much flavour coming from the zucchini. I mean, yellow zucchini is such a lovely taste. And it's just about getting as much flavour out of the vegetables as possible. That's the wonderful thing about Italian food. They're not worried about cooking the vegetables too much. They don't care about the texture so much. They're more about the flavour. And zucchini is one of those ingredients that is so lovely to cook, because the more you cook it, the more the flavour comes out.
Never before has my mouth watered just at reading the ingredients of a recipe. Once again, I draw your attention to use yellow zucchini, spring onion, fennel, and lentil soup. 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 300 grams of spring onions finely sliced, 1 kilogram of yellow courgette zucchini sliced into 1 centimetre, 2 fennel bulbs, 1 garlic clove, 1 green chilli, 150 grams of dried Umbrian or Puy French lentils, 1 litre of water, 200 grams of baby spinach leaves washed, 1 tablespoon chopped flat leaf parsley, 200 millilitres of creme fraiche, sea salt, and freshly ground black pepper. Yes, please. Theo. Where do you want to go next? It's up to you. I've got
Okay,
stuff.
so there's one lovely one on asparagus. So if we go to asparagus, it's actually one of my favourite ones, and it's right this time of year. I mean, literally, you've got about 2 weeks left, and it's to page 65, and it's the asparagus frito with saffron aioli. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but actually, it's one of the most delicious ways of eating asparagus. And
it's like asparagus tempura.
It's like an asparagus tempura. And with the saffron aioli, the combination of the asparagus with the saffron aioli is absolutely delish.
Why are we just doing this at my house this weekend, you lot? Okay, if England and or Scotland make it to the semi-finals, I don't care what you're doing that weekend. I know you're all bright young things with big, fat, gorgeous lives, and you don't hang out with an old codger like me, but you have to come to my house and we have to cook. We all have to bring a recipe from this book, on the big long table that used to be in a French vineyard. Yeah, got to do that. I mean, you can't tell I've not eaten for 36 hours, 39 hours, can you? Not at all. It's about the dips as well. The dips.
Yeah.
Tell us about. Give us like 3 greatest dips. Super tips for amazing dips.
Aioli's got to be one of them, or mayonnaise. Any sort of garlicky mayonnaise is definitely good.
Homemade is so good.
Oh my God, homemade's the only way. I mean, it's so simple to make.
Come on.
Egg yolk, a little bit of mustard, bit of vinegar or lemon juice, and then just whisk in some nice olive oil. That's not too heavy, light olive oil, or you can use sunflower oil.
Broccoli and fontina croquettes. I can see that at the semi-final party.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Come on.
Yeah. It's a nice pasta here on page 160. Tagliatelle with tomatoes.
Are we making the pasta or not?
No, on this one you don't have to.
Okay.
You can just buy. You can buy the tagliatelle pre-made. You can get really good tagliatelle these days.
By the way, if the team do come round and they want to cook some pasta dishes, I will make the tagliatelle because I don't mind making that, and it's good fun, isn't it?
Well, it is great fun, and it is very easy to make, and I've just put it in here because it makes it easier.
I get it.
But so tagliatelle with tomatoes, zucchini, and capers. Now, I've used Datterini tomatoes in this recipe. Now, Datterini tomatoes are the greatest tomato on the planet. They're small little plum tomatoes, incredibly sweet, and it's just the zucchini fried off, a little bit of garlic, and then you throw in the tomatoes. The tomatoes just sort of melt, and then you cook the tagliatelle, and you just toss the whole thing together with some chopped parsley and some capers. And it is very, very simple, but it's so flavoursome. The idea is you cook the courgettes so they're really cooked and slightly caramelised, and then the tomatoes are just much softer.
Okay,
and
I don't think I've ever been this hungry in my life. Just so you know.
Well, you haven't eaten for nearly 40
No,
hours.
but I was fine with that until he came in.
I haven't eaten for nearly 40 seconds and I'm hungry.
So Dattarini tomatoes best in the world.
I mean, they're just heavenly.
All right, okay. Are they definitely the best in the world?
I mean, there are Vesuvius tomatoes which are pretty close.
No, I need
and there's
I need to go
yeah,
definitive
Dattarini,
ones.
the best in the world.
Okay, control a round of applause for Dattarini tomatoes. That's why I had to check, you see. They had to be the best in the world to get
Okay,
that.
yeah, I get it.
Okay, what else?
Okay, so moving on to the sort of more autumn time, we have got a salad, and it is...
What page are we on?
We're on page 204, and I think it's one of the most beautiful photographs in the book. And it's onion squash and radicchio salad with lentils.
Your mouth watering now.
It is a bit, yeah.
I think it is. That doesn't happen very often.
I'm liking my own cookbook. Onion squash, radicchio, lentil, and rainbow chard on page 204. And it's basically roasted squash. We've got some lentils. I love a lentil, I have to say.
So
I
do
just
I.
love lentils.
Bring on the lentils.
And mix them with some earthy rainbow chard, which is actually the best chard to buy. And I tell you why, because the stalks are quite tender and you can use all the stalks. So I'm a big fan of buying the rainbow chard because it comes in those sort of bunches. And you just chop the whole thing up and blanch it in boiling salted water.
Right.
It's all usable.
Do you know, even if England or Scotland don't get through to the... We have to have this party in mind. Because we've got a massive kitchen. We're blessed with a massive kitchen. We've got to do this, yeah? Because we've now got to rewind to page 52, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
everybody.
go.
Back in the class. Okay, page 52, people.
Yeah.
We're going to start with page 52. All right, open your textbooks now. And we're going for zucchini and ricotta crespel. Look at that, everyone, people! Oh, my gosh! Where'd you get this from?
Well, it's a pancake essentially, and it's a
Well,
baked.
is it? Yeah. Have
Yeah,
you ever
I
seen
mean-
a pancake like that before? Yeah. You might say it's a pancake. The rest of us couldn't possibly comment.
It's a pancake with courgettes, onions, basil, and then in the middle, then we've got lovely bechamel sauce, a nice sort of cheesy bechamel
How do you make your
sauce.
bechamel, Theo?
So equal quantities of flour and butter. And then melt that, and then add hot milk. It's very important you have hot milk. Never add cold milk to a bechamel because it will go lumpy. But you cook the flour and the milk out for about
What happens if you put vegan milk in there?
It goes lumpy because
Vegan
the
milk as well?
temperature goes cold, and you melted the butter, you put the flour in, it's very hot. You start adding cold milk, it changes the temperature, so then it'll go lumpy. Okay. So use hot milk and whisk it at the beginning, or use a wooden spoon and pour in the milk gradually, and then you have a lovely, smooth, creamy bechamel.
Be in the moment. You got to be in the moment.
You've got to be in the moment. You've got to, when you're cooking, you've got to feel it. You can't just sort of like cook something and, you've got to concentrate on it. Not like super concentrate, but just make sure your attention is on what you're cooking.
At least meet it in the middle.
Meet it definitely in the middle,
All
at
right.
least.
I would refer the right honourable gentleman to page 73 now, both of you. Page 73. And paccheri with asparagus, porcini and butter.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
What is going on with this?
Okay,
Look at that one, Jane.
So this one
Look at
is...
that.
Paccheri is one of the most incredible pastas. It's like the most beautifully textured pasta. It takes about 20 minutes to cook. It's incredibly thick. Southern Italian pasta, beautiful dish with asparagus and porcini mushrooms. A combination of asparagus and porcini I absolutely adore. And with that pasta, with that texture of the pasta, it's fab.
Okay, page 151. Yellow pepper, broccoli and squash salad with pine nuts. I mean, come on. Yellow pepper, broccoli and squash salad with pine nuts. There you go. Look at that. Again, I mean, you're right. The photography is so important, isn't it?
Lizzie Mason, brilliant photographer. She did all the photography.
Big up Lizzie Mason. Please, if you don't mind, control round of applause for Lizzie Mason. Thank you. We do what we can.
You certainly do.
You come to Carfest?
I certainly am.
Oh, okay.
Can't wait.
Are you staying for the whole weekend? Or?
I'm staying for the whole day.
Oh, for the whole
Friday,
day. Right.
yeah.
You might want to stick around.
I'll probably end up being the whole weekend.
I can't thank you enough, mate. Cannot thank you enough. And if you haven't, how many restaurants do you have now?
I've got the one in central London.
One in central London, okay. If you haven't eaten at Intercontinental still, are we?
Yeah.
The Intercontinental Hotel, Theo Randall, it's amazing. He has his Michelin star. You've had it for nearly 4 decades now?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, in your 3.5 decade of having a Michelin star. How cool is that?
Yeah, and well, Caroline and I just recently treated ourselves to a night in central London, and where should we eat? We ate at your place. You weren't there, otherwise I'd have come and said hello.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. You were away on holiday.
Oh,
You're
yes.
allowed to go on a holiday.
Yes. I went to Mexico. Yeah, that's
But it was genuinely. We had one of the great evenings. Peter, your front of house guy,
Peter.
He just. I mean, the food. 10 out of 10. Obviously, you're cooking it,
Yeah.
right? But the whole experience was just wonderful. So thank you, and well played, Peter.
Oh, Peter's lovely. We love
Theo,
him.
anything else you'd like to say? Verdura, 10 vegetables, 100 Italian recipes. It's one of those ones, I mean, cookbook-wise, this is a 10. It doesn't get any better. It's a 10, everybody. We try and get 10s, across the board on the show to do with authors, depending on, regardless, rather, of whether they're writing fiction, non-fiction, or cookery books. But this is a nailed on 10. Obviously, Theo's a friend. Thank you, Theo, for everything you've helped us out with in the past. But this is genuinely a 10 out of 10. Anything else you'd like to say?
Just like to say thank you for having me on the show, and I hope everyone likes the book. It's all about vegetables. We need to have a healthier lifestyle, so eating more vegetables is better for you.
Yeah, and they can be delicate. They can be substantial. They can be full of well-being, full of nutrition, and delicate at the same time. The four are not mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
Brilliant. And congratulations once again on being a granddad.
Thank you.
There's the smile again. Look at it. Look at it. It's a smile money can't buy. Great. All right, Prince and Kiss now. This is the Virgin Radio Breakfast Show. It's Friday Eve. It's Euros Eve. And all of the Euros live and exclusive on TalkSport and TalkSport 2.
Virgin Radio.